Hello, it's Justin, and today I want to talk about a major problem affecting society and affecting a lot of individuals, and a lot of people struggle with it. And if you look at the average statistics for the population as a whole, most people have a problem with this. And what I'm talking about is phone addiction. So to give you some statistics, Americans spend on average 5.4 hours per day on their phones, while younger people, especially such as teenagers, spend an average of 7 hours and 22 minutes per day on their phones. So this is a problem because we have 24 hours a day, and if you're spending 5 to 7 to 8 hours a day on your phone, and that's just the average, then you're spending about a quarter of your entire day on your phone. And that is a major problem. I think that is a sign of phone addiction. And this is just talking about the average American or the average teenager. Of course, there's going to be a lot of people who exceed that, and that's an even bigger problem for them. So this video is about this problem with phone addiction that a lot of people struggle with, and that has been affecting our society. Don't get me wrong, I think phones and smartphones are very useful, and they can be very useful. However, they can have a lot of negative impacts if you just use them way too often and have no self-control and self-discipline. So one major problem, obviously, that having phone addiction will give you is it's going to waste your time. Like I said before, if you're spending 5 to 8 hours a day on your phone, then you have already lost about a quarter of the entire day. And you have to add on to the fact that you also have to sleep. Too much time on your phone has shown to affect your sleep and make your sleep even worse, which makes you even more tired and also waste even more of your time. And it's going to just waste a lot of your time, which is terrible. And for the most part, we don't even use our phones for a lot of productive uses. Of course, there are a lot of productive uses on our phones, but I don't think people spend 5 to 8 hours per day on their phones for a productive reason. You might spend, let's say, half an hour on your phone a day doing something productive, maybe even up to an hour if you use your phone for a lot of different things, but it's hard for me to believe that you're spending 5 to 8 hours per day productively on your phone, because that's just not realistic. And also, for the most part, people are doing low value activities on their phones. They're scrolling through social media feeds, they're looking at websites, they're just wasting a lot of time, they're commenting on people's stuff, and most of it is not adding value to people's lives. So number one, it wastes your time. Number two, phone addiction creates a lot of distractions for you and distracts you from living the real life, and it distracts you from working and achieving your goals, because when you work, being focused is very important. And when you have these notifications bombarding you, and if you're just compulsively checking your phone, then that's going to be a problem, and your work is going to suffer as a consequence. Also, you're going to be distracted when you're interacting with other people, or if you're just doing something, you won't be present in the moment, which is very important for happiness and for living a really fulfilling life and to really experience things in a fulfilling way. Overall, you're just unfocused and you're distracted from everything, and it's also a form of procrastination. Whatever you're doing and whatever you need to get done, if you're spending too much time on your phone, you're going to delay and procrastinate and not get things done. Procrastination affects people very often, and a lot of people struggle with it, and you really have to get over procrastination in order to do whatever you want to do, whether you want to work towards your goals, be more productive at work, spend more time in real life with friends. Just don't procrastinate, and getting over phone addiction will eliminate one of the major causes of people's procrastinations. Most people procrastinate on their phones. So a third problem that phone addiction causes is it pushes people to rely too much on virtual relationships, which I personally think is a bad thing. Personally, I think people relying too much on social media and on dating apps to meet people is very bad, and it tears at the social fabric of society. I personally believe that meeting and interacting with people in real life is much more powerful and much more fulfilling. And it's also proven to be healthier when you're interacting with people in real life. Your brain has a positive effect when that happens, because humans are social creatures, and when we actually interact with people in real life, our brain benefits, and also our health benefits, our mental health benefits. So don't neglect your real life relationships by relying too much on virtual relationships. Additionally, I think that it really damages people's social skills when they rely too much on virtual relationships. People aren't really meeting people, approaching people, talking to people. And when they do talk to people, since they've been relying too much on virtual relationships, they aren't very good at keeping a conversation going or even having an interesting conversation. And I think one major problem is phone addiction, and people are not practicing in their social skills. People are not even using their social skills much because they're relying too much on their phones. And that is why when you talk to older people, they tend to have much better social skills because they grew up at a time when smartphones didn't exist and they actually had to use social skills, which is why I often have very interesting conversations with older people. So real life interaction is powerful, so don't neglect that. It's important to not rely on virtual relationships and focus more on our real life relationships. Of course, it's good to connect with people on social media and online and over the internet. I think that's great. You can reach a lot of different people and a lot of people in general because of the internet and because of social media and because of the technology we have today, and I think that's a great thing. I just think that you should not neglect your real life relationships and real life interactions, and you shouldn't neglect actually interacting with people in real life because that is essential to living a happy life. So the next problem I find with phone addiction is compulsive behavior, because if you think about it, phones bombard us with notifications and we are compulsively checking our phones. That is a problem because then we are not really focused, we are not really living in the moment, we're not really being intentional with what we do, we're just responding. We're just compulsively checking our phones, checking our notifications, going on our apps. So a lot of people go on toxic websites, and I think that's a major problem. And it's proven to be psychologically unhealthy. And lastly, I think a major problem with phone addiction is it makes people reactive rather than proactive. And in order to really achieve a lot in life, in order to really realize your goals and dreams, you have to be proactive. And phone addiction stops that. Phone addiction makes people more reactive than proactive, because when you're just checking your phones and responding to your phone, then you're reacting to whatever's happening on your phone rather than putting your phone away for a little bit and focusing on real life. And I think that is important for people to do. So I read an article recently about other negative impacts of phone addiction, so I'm going to show that to you. So additionally, phone addiction and spending too much time on your phone has been proven to increase loneliness and depression, feel anxiety, increase stress, exacerbate attention deficit disorders, diminish your ability to concentrate and think deeply or creatively, disturb your sleep, and encourage self-absorption and narcissism. And they also have different signs and symptoms of smartphone addiction. So if you have trouble completing tasks at work or home, or you're isolated from family and friends, or you're just concealing your smartphone use, having a fear of missing out, or just feeling dread, anxiety, or panic if you leave your smartphone at home, then these are signs of smartphone or internet addiction. And I also think that in general, if you're spending 5 to 8 hours a day, like the average American is, on your phone, then that is also a sign of phone addiction, because that's a ridiculous amount of time on your phone, and you don't need to be spending that much on your phone. You could be doing more productive things in real life and interacting with people in real life. So these are the problems with phone addiction, and it's important to overcome it. And the way I reduce my phone usage is I put my phone on airplane mode for most of the day, and I check it usually around 12 p.m., 4 p.m., and 8 p.m. And this is not a very strict schedule. I am a little flexible, and of course when I'm hanging out with friends, when I'm outside, I will have my phone off airplane mode, and I'll just have my phone on in general, because sometimes you will be texting people and you are calling people to meet up. So there's always exceptions to the rules, but in the most part, if I want to get a lot of things done for the day, I keep my phone on airplane mode for most of the day and only check it around 12, 4, and 8. And that has allowed me to dramatically reduce my phone usage and focus on more productive things in life. So I hope this video helped you, and I hope this enlightened people on a major problem that's affecting society. Thank you for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you get notified when new videos come out. Also, follow me on Instagram, where you can DM me, and follow me on Medium, where I write about the same topics I talk about on YouTube. My Instagram and Medium are linked in the description below, so check that out, and I'll see you next time.